Welcome to the Miami Sports Vibes YouTube channel. Welcome, everybody. Thank you all for the support that you guys have been giving me. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the feedback. I appreciate you guys. Make sure if you have not subscribed to the channel before I get into this video, please subscribe to the channel. Listen, Dolphin season is right around the corner. We got training camp this week. Dolphin fans, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to the channel. I'm putting out content weekly. I'm talking Dolphins. I'm excited. Listen, it's going to be a big year for the Dolphins. Now, I want to talk about this on today's video. I want to talk about three impactful players, not named Tua, not named Tyreek, that I think are going to be very impactful for the Miami Dolphins in this 2024 season, and players that I think if these guys do what I say they should do, things can be potential championship, you can argue. And the first one I want to talk about today is, you might guess these, by the way, but I try not to be too obvious, which is why I left Tua and Tyreek out of this, because obviously those are our two top dogs. Without them, I mean, the Dolphins aren't going nowhere. So without further ado, my first player that I choose is the man himself, number 17, Jalen Waddle, man. I mean, Jalen Waddle, obviously, it's probably an obvious answer because he is, you can argue he's our third best player, maybe even fourth. But this is a player that I think, obviously, you look at the numbers, having 1,000-yard season in each of his three first seasons in the NFL. But one thing I don't like, obviously, is the games played. You know, going from 17 to 14 last year, I don't like that. All right. Going from 8 touchdowns to 4 touchdowns, I don't like that. And obviously the drop off in yardage, which obviously is because he missed some time. I think Jalen Waddle has to be healthy this season. I think for the Dolphins to reach their potential of becoming contenders and probably competing for a championship, a lot of it falls on Jalen Waddle. You already know what Tyreek Hill is going to give you. You already know he might be chasing for another 2,000-yard season or somewhat close to that. You know he's going to put up big numbers. But Jalen Waddle, to be that nice number 2 option in the Dolphins offense and be a threat, can be big time. And I don't mean just a threat by catching balls here, having 1,000-yard season, but a little bit more impact, right? Be that scoring threat. You know the game is going to open up when you have a running game with Raheem Mostert, Devon A-Chain, you got McDaniel calling plays, and Tua throwing the way he's throwing it, and Tyreek being able to, draw so much attention when he's in motion. It opens the game for Jalen Waddle. But what is Jalen Waddle going to do with the opportunity he's obviously going to get? First of all, he has to stay healthy. He cannot drop passes. And there's a lot of times where, like I said, back to that health factor, where Jalen Waddle's kind of always banged up every now and then. Is he going to play? Is he going to be able to sustain those hits and have a productive season from a touchdown perspective? He needs to get into the end zone more. There's no way that Jalen Waddle should end up with 4 touchdowns in this Miami Dolphins offense. I get it. Mike McDaniel kind of looks more to Tyreek's way, but Jalen Waddle, I mean, if you're putting up 1,000 yards, you got to be getting to the end zone more than four times. He did it in the first year with Tyreek Hill, and that's kind of what made us really, really scary before, obviously, Tua going down with what he went down with. It was a huge bummer, but things were clicking, man, because we had those two guys going off at the same time. I mean, that was amazing. I mean, remember the Green Bay game before things went crazy with Tua? I mean, Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, it's crazy. When they're both clicking and they're both scoring at a high rate, that could do big things for the Miami Dolphins offense going forward. Second guy that I think is my guy, Jalen freaking Ramsey, man. One of my favorite players. Talk about the impact that Jalen Ramsey has made. I mean, he's a great locker room guy, and he balled the hell out. Talk about a guy that experienced an injury before the start of the season. There was question that he might not even play. This dude beats the timetable, comes back early, and then dominates. You remember his first game back? Do you guys remember that? It was crazy, man. Like, Jalen Ramsey is still one of the best cornerbacks, if not the best cornerback in the NFL. You can obviously make the case for that. I certainly believe he is right now because of his, he's won the championship before. He's done things. He's proven. Obviously, you got a couple young guys kind of, fighting him for that. But I think Jalen Ramsey is key, man. And the reason I say that is not only because of his ability to be one of the best cornerbacks and be shut down on his side, But Jalen Ramsey's going to have to make an even bigger impact, right? You got guys like Cam Smith, all right, coming into another year under his belt. Obviously didn't play much of his rookie season. I expect him to play more this season. You got Kader Kohu. Yes, you got Kendall Fuller on the other side, but you got these young DBs that are obviously Jalen Ramsey has already taken them under his wing. But what is he going to do now that he's already under his wing now a second season, right? So you got 2 seasons. Jalen Ramsey's taking guys under his wing. So he needs to be a good leader. He needs to develop those guys, take those guys under his wing, and also hold down his own because there's no Xavier Howard on the other side. All right. So all guys are looking at Jalen Ramsey, right? Jalen Ramsey, do your job, but not only do your job, but be that voice to these young guys on the other side because you're going to need them in the later half of the season. So I think Jalen Ramsey, for that reason, being that leader is going to be very impactful for the Miami Dolphins and their secondary. I mean, think about it. Like, there's no more X. Jalen Ramsey's going to do his job, but is he going to be able to elevate the game of the other guys to kind of help him out? That's what I'm looking for, and that's why I think that he is another key player that I think the Dolphins need for them to be successful. And third, all right, this is a little bit of a bummer here. It is Chop Robinson. And the reason why I say it's a bummer is because obviously if you haven't seen my last video, I did pick Chop Robinson to be the player that not a lot of people were talking about for the reasons that I said. You guys can watch that video. But obviously, man, Chop Robinson's opportunity is going to be there. Of course, after I make the video, Shaq Barrett retires. All right. So now even bigger opportunity is going to be there for Chop Robinson. So obviously, I think he's the guy. But I don't want to short you guys out and just leave it at that. I'll pick another guy for you, and it's Teron Armstead, man. Obviously, Teron Armstead is the key to this offensive line. He is the best player on the offensive line. He's the most polished guy. All right. He's a veteran. This guy, we just drafted a tackle. Okay. So talk about Ramsey taking guys under his wing. Teron Armstead is going to do that with Patrick Paul. So how is that going to work out? Right. You just obviously Armstead's going to miss some games. He's not going to play a full season. Is he going to be there when it matters most? That's the most important thing. And I think he will be. This is a guy who pushes through and kind of times he knows his body, but he's going to be able to, pick up Paul, the rookie, build him up, teach him the nuances of the game. That way Paul can develop, take his place when he needs to. And who knows, whenever there's an injury, if the other side gets injured, Paul will be able to step in. Following the footsteps of a guy like Teron Armstead is going to do wonders. And Teron Armstead has already embraced that, which is what you love to see, is veteran guys paying it forward to the younger guys. All right. So Armstead has already talked about that. Armstead has already talked about how important it is to get Tua this deal. Armstead has been an awesome freaking leader since he's been on the Dolphins. This is a guy who, he's a team first guy, and you absolutely love to have that as a Dolphin fan, just seeing somebody like that. He's been all about Miami, man. And talk about a guy who you could talk about his injuries, but he's made the Pro Bowl on both seasons since he's been on the Dolphins. The dude is the real deal. The dude is impactful. If we need to win, these players are the ones that have to be top of the line. I didn't mention Tua, which is obvious, but Tyreek Hill, number 2, Jalen Waddle, for the offensive reasons that I stated, Jalen Ramsey being the lone man, the most established cornerback there, and then Teron Armstead being the key to the offensive line. Those 5 things go right, I think the Dolphins will do wonders. And I think, like I said, if health is cleared, you're fully healthy, things go right, you get these guys back like Jalen Phillips, Bradley Chubb, man, the Dolphins can go really, really far this year. Honorable mention guys that I didn't mention, obviously Devon Achane going into year 2. What is he going to do? I think he's going to do big things. And Javon Holland, obviously with a new defensive coordinator here, I think Holland can do big things as well. So I did not forget about those guys, but those are my 3 guys. Let me know if you guys agree, let me know who you think it is. And just let me know, man. Love to chop it up. Training camp week is here, Dolphin fans. We right around the corner for some Dolphins football, baby.